The European contribution to the International Space Station comes from 10 members of the European Space Agency and amounts to an 8% share in the program. It consists of a number of modules in the US segment, ATV supply ships, launches, software and €8 billion. History. In the 1980s, ESA devised plans for its own space station called Columbus, which could be attached to NASA's Space Station Freedom. America objected to ESA's using Columbus as building block of a future European space station, and were concerned that they would facilitate the creation of a potential competitor if the manned space outpost fulfilled its promise as supplier of commercially viable products, such as new materials and pharmaceuticals. Plans were scaled down as a result, and by 1988, Europe proposed to participate with 3 elements: attached pressurized module, man-tended free-flying platform, plus an unmanned polar remote sensing platform. This would be supported by the Ariane 5 rocket and the Hermes spaceplane. However, after German reunification, ESA's budget reductions meant something had to be cancelled. The collapse of the Soviet Union and the Space Shuttle Challenger disaster meant a radical change in plans for a space station. The US and Russia decided to cooperate on an international space station. ESA cancelled much of its space station program to focus on the Columbus module, reconfigured for the ISS. The module was approved in 1995, but delays in station construction meant Columbus would not fly until 2008. Modules. ESA's largest physical contribution has been the Columbus Laboratory, launched in 2008. It is a flexible and extensive scientific research facility planned to last at least 10 years. Columbus was constructed in Italy by Alcatel Linea Space with functional architecture and software designed by EADS in Germany. Unlike other ESA-built modules, Columbus is operated by ESA rather than NASA and is controlled by the Columbus Control Center in Germany. It cost €1.4 billion on building Columbus, including the experiments that will fly in it and the ground control infrastructure necessary to operate them. ESA has contributed a further 2 nodes which connect modules of the station and had docking ports for visiting ships. They were built by ESA in Italy for NASA and launched in 2007 and 2010. The Italian Space Agency, in addition and independently from its participation to ESA programs, also built the multi-purpose logistics module for NASA. Likewise, ESA built the cupola module for NASA, which is used for observing Canadarm and was launched in 2009. In 2017, the European robotic arm will be launched and attached to the Russian segment. ESA also provides the DMSR data management system designed for the Russian segment of the ISS. It provides control, navigation, mission management and failure management for the Russian segment and is installed on the modules of ESDA. ATV. ESA developed the automated transfer vehicle as an expendable, unmanned resupply spacecraft to resupply the ISS. It's capable of bringing 6.6 tons of supplies to the ISS and docking automatically. As a pressurized component, it stays docked as part of the station for several months and boosts it to orbit. It is then filled with waste and burnt up in the atmosphere. 5 ATVs, Jules Verne, Johannes Kepler, Eduardo Amaldi, Albert Einstein, and Georges Lemaitre have visited the International Space Station. No additional ATVs will be funded. ATV missions are monitored and controlled from the ATV Control Center located at the Toulouse Space Center in Toulouse, France. The center is responsible for all planning and executing of every orbital maneuver and mission task of the ATV. for the moment of separation from its launch vehicle until it burns up in the Earth's atmosphere. The prime contractor for the ATV is EADS Austrian Space Transportation, leading a consortium of many subcontractors. Development was started in Les Mureaux, France and moved to Bremen, Germany. As the project moved from its development to production stage of the 4 initial units starts. In order to facilitate the relationship between the contractor and ESA, an integrated ESA team at the Les Mureaux site has been established for the duration of the development. The development cost of the ATV was approximately €1.35 billion, and each ATV spacecraft costs about $300 million, not including launch costs. Launches. ESA's Ariane 5 acts as one of the launchers for the ISS components. Guiana Space Center provides a launch pad for Ariane and Russian Soyuz rockets. All ATV crafts are launched from Ariane rockets at Guiana. Research. ELIPS is ESA's space research program on the ISS. Columbus provides ESA's research labs through its 10 payload racks stocked with equipment and external facilities for experiments. ESA-run experiments on the ISS include an ultra-stable atomic clock, an atmosphere-space interaction monitor, an eye-tracking experiment and the Matryoshka experiments. Astronauts. The first ESA astronaut to board the ISS was Umberto Guidoni on a resupply mission. The first ESA astronaut to stay on board in an expedition was Thomas Reiter in 2006. Tim Peake is currently serving on board. Costs and participating ESA states. In contributing to the ISS, ESA only represents 10 of its member states: Belgique, Denmark, France, Germany, Italy, Netherlands, Norway, Spain, Sweden and Switzerland. Austria, Finland, and Ireland chose not to participate because of lack of interest or concerns about the expense of the project. The United Kingdom withdrew from the preliminary agreement because of concerns about the expense of the project. The other states joined ESA after the agreement had been signed. Non-participating ESA states are allowed access to the ISS for a 3-year trial period between 2010 and 2013. The current cost estimates for the ISS are approaching €100 billion in total, of which ESA has committed to paying €8 billion. About 90% of the costs of ESA's ISS share will be contributed by Germany, France and Italy.